سبيل الدموع سبيل.
This video is going to be an interesting one where we are going to talk about cool things about 7 things not to do when you start your entrepreneurship journey. Now this is going to be a very fun session where very fun for probably it will be a very short video, probably a long one. I don't know how things end up, but then this is going to be an interesting one because now things to do is way different than things not to do. And in this particular video, we are going to cover 7 things, probably 8 things based upon the time and the duration of how things goes. Be prepared to probably have a longer video than 10 minutes or probably less than 10 minutes. Now, one thing that helped me make this even script out this particular video and start even talking about this video is like the mistakes that I've done before. That's one. Second thing, one thing is assume that we get overwhelmed with so many things that we do. How can we eliminate a lot of things in entrepreneurship and where exactly to focus? So as Matthew the actor, he says, if we exactly know what are the things that we are not, it becomes very easy for us. It's not again easy, but then it becomes a smoother journey for us to know who we are. It's like eliminating distractions. That brings me to the point number 1 is like taking everyone as a mentor. Now I'll go back 2 years when I started my internet journey, where I started back in the day. We had TikTok, and what I started doing is I started following every advice from all the industry leaders, and I started posting around 8 to 12 pieces of content on TikTok. For what? Just so that I get what? I had no idea of the goal that I had for posting content. No. But what I was doing is I was listening to everyone that was saying me things, and what I started doing is like I was following everything, and it was causing chaos within me. I was sleeping with it. I was sleeping with the thoughts of, okay, what am I going to post next day or after the next day, or probably when I do this topic, what should I do next? And I was being burned out. I literally burned out for I did that for like 2 weeks, and I was like, dude, I'm taking a break, and that break was like, okay, I'm not even going to come and post anything after that. So when you take an advice and when you take mentors, when you get into mentorship from so many other people, you're already distracted. And probably when we start off an entrepreneurship journey, we do this all the time. I have done this all the time, and probably even you are going to repeat the same thing, because that's how things is like, okay, I want to learn this. You keep on following so many people on YouTube, on Instagram. It's like, okay, I'm going to do this. But it's all distraction for you. Point number 1. Cool. Now moving on to point number 2. Following all industry leaders. Again, the same thing. When you follow all industry leaders, it is good for you to learn stuff. Cool. Now I was listening to one of the YouTubers. He's not a YouTuber. He's got like 100 million. He is a CEO of 100 million. He does over $100 million a month or a year or something like that. I've been listening to him for like last 2 weeks, and he says something very interesting that kind of triggered a lot of things with me. Like, when you consume a content, when you attend an event, when you attend a webinar, from that point onwards, how do you execute that one thing that you've learned? Execution. It solely depends on you. When you've learned things, how are you going to implement those things? How are you going to execute those things? You should not go and watch other 10 videos of the same thing. For example, if you want to script a video, you watch one video. Now the whole goal of that person making that video is to help you make a scripted video. You don't have to watch that video and that video and that video and that video and that video. Read that book and that blog and that blog and that blog. You don't have to do that. Every content's intention is to help you get started. Now when you've learned, if you've taken an information, done. How fast do you execute that? that depends the speed of how you do things. So whenever you're consuming content, like immediately put that into execution. Don't even think about, okay, I'll be doing it tomorrow, because by tomorrow you have already watched another video of doing the same thing and you're already over to even get started. So that is what happens when you take everyone as a mentor, when you start following a lot of leaders. It is great that you follow so many things. It's kind of taking you to that frequency, but then think also about the things that helps you execute things. Point number 2. Point number 3 is working 24/7. This is one of, I think we are into that phase of life or that age of digital times where the hustle culture is way beyond us. Everybody talks about you have to hustle, work 24 hours, 24/7, and it's like you don't give breaks, it's like stuff like that. That's all cool, but it just doesn't work out for everyone. It just doesn't work out for everyone. It never works out for me. I cannot be working 24/7. My creative part of the world, the brain will hardly go for 60 minutes, 90 minutes. I'm not underestimating the way I do things, the way I look at things. But as of now, if I brainstorm, if I'm into that creative part of puzzle for more than 90 minutes, I am done for the day. It doesn't work after that. I'm totally burned out. So in other words, you cannot just work for 24 hours, 7 days a week. You cannot just do that. You have to work in time slots. Work for like 60 minutes, give yourself a break, do something completely different. Then if you want to work, if you are actually working on a project, it's like fixed times. Fixed times. It's not about working 24/7. You cannot, like, you and anyone else in the world who is making $1 million, who's making $10 million, who's not even making something, starting from scratch, who's making like $20,000, whatever that is. We all have just 24 hours. How you prioritize things, how you can eliminate distractions is purely based on the way you want to get things done. So working 24/7 doesn't work in entrepreneurship. Now that you're starting that journey, that's how you should not have that as like I'm going to hit this goal only because I'm going to work like 20 hours a day. That doesn't work. Work like 22 hours, give a break. Then after 4 hours you take this project, like I'm going to work for 2 hours. That's how we function. Fourth one is kind of debatable in a lot of things, but then I really want to put out like if you are new to what you're doing. 2 categories. If you're new to what you're doing, or probably you've already been doing something, now you want to channelize into a lot of things. If you are new, give yourself 6 to 9 months. Don't expect money coming your way from 6 to 9 months. You can, but if you are literally new, for example, if you were a doctor, now you are into completely different domains. Like for example, if you have been doctor for so many years, now that it's like, I don't want to continue being a doctor. Now what I want to do is I want to teach people how can they go do hiking, trekking or skateboarding, because that's your passion, because that's what you want to do. Now when you go from there to this part of the world, you cannot expect money coming your way. You know why? Because you are starting something new, a completely new skill, and you're exploring new dimension of the world. You're exploring new dimension of you. You don't have skills to sell, to market, to function, to operate. You don't have those things. You have to develop those skills with practice. With the more you vocalize it, the more you work on it, the more your muscle is going to build. Now coming to second category, when you've already been doing something, and you just want to change the medium of what you were doing. Probably the journey for you would be easier, and you can expect results within 6 months, or probably 4 months, probably even a month. But you have to know which part of this category you are. You cannot be competing with each other. Like already experience, zero experience. Cool. So this is like a metric that you can measure when I say expecting results within 6 months. The fifth one, again, goes back to the previous point, is comparing yourself. The only person that you have to compare, only person is like, go watch your mirrors, like I'm just competing with you. Am I doing better than yesterday? Yes, great. No, work on it. You don't compare yourself with anyone other than yourself. It'll destroy you, overwhelm you, freeze you. Already you are overwhelmed. Category. one of the characters, like we get overwhelmed. Now when you start comparing yourself with the people who are already succeeding in what they are doing, you're already overwhelmed. Imagine if you stack overwhelming feeling upon overwhelming feeling. See, you will not even take one small little step and move forward. Period. So what do? You just look at, am I doing better than before? If yes, great. If not, then work on it. You exactly know the metrics that you can measure. 6th point. Being overwhelmed with goals. The next point, being overwhelmed with actions. Two entirely different things. Thank you. Two entirely different things. Now, when you say, let us dig deep into both the categories. It will be fun. Few of us get overwhelmed with the goal. Few of us get overwhelmed with the actions. We'll kind of decode it. I don't get overwhelmed with the goals. Cool. I have seen members getting overwhelmed with the goals. Okay. Now, how can we categorize this? When you don't get overwhelmed with the goals, you will definitely get overwhelmed with the action steps, just like me. Two different categories altogether. Okay. Now, when you are not getting overwhelmed with the goal, what do? When you're setting a goal, okay, I'm going to make so and so amount of money, XYZ amount of money. You take the goal, as James Lawrence said, shelve the goal. We are not going to watch that. We are not going to look at that. We're just going to take an inspiration from that particular goal, and we are going to come here and face the hard truth and go into take a small little action. Now, when it comes to actions, you can never expect massive actions from your end when you're starting it off. When you're starting anything off, that action part of it never comes. You take a baby step, a small step. What is required? What is on the top of the list? What is a priority? Look, what do you want to do? One of the priorities that I had before recording, like 2 years back, I think, 2019 probably, when I was probably going to record, one of the priority that I had is like, I need a haircut. The hair was too long. It's like I want a regular size haircut. It was long hair, but then I just wanted a bit trimmed hair, so that what happens is that was nothing happens. That was a priority of the. So when you have a goal, when you're not overwhelmed with the goal, boil it down to small little steps. Okay, what do I have to do today and get those things done? When you are overwhelmed with the goal, just repeat the same thing. You take the goal. We are not going to talk about the goal anymore. It's like you shelve the goal. When you shelve the goal, what will inspire or take you towards the goal is small little actions. Again, the same thing. What should I do today? That's the priority. Do that. What should I do tomorrow? Do that. What should I do after tomorrow? Do that. What should I do the next week? Do that. When you keep on having that momentum of taking small little baby actions, I'm a big fan of baby actions. But the baby grows. You start small. You start baby. Then slowly the baby turns probably 6 months. Then 12 months. Then 24 months. Then 4 years. Then 10 years. Then there's like a teenage version of it. Then there's like a youth version of it. Then there's like an adult version of that. The baby is the same, but the baby has grown now. Same your actions. Got it? So that was about whenever we are overwhelmed with probably actions. What do? Baby steps. Small little baby steps. And what will help make us drive forward is like those goals, because you're not overwhelmed with the goals. When you are overwhelmed with the goals, we shelve them, we start doing, okay, this time I'm going to do this, tomorrow that, like baby steps, and the baby grows older. The 8th point is starting to be, sound and look like a robot. Why do I say that? When you get into, it's a very natural thing that you do. When you start recording, you start reading things out, you start wearing shirts, you start doing all the things that you are not. Just like when you go out for a job and I don't know about you, but then I've seen a lot of people doing this. I've probably seen myself even do back in the day. When I'm going for a job, I'll pretend to be the great version of Fazal. Fazal is not great, but I'll pretend to be the great version of Fazal so that people have that sort of conviction, talking to fuzzle and stuff like that. But then that's not the reality. This is the reality. Now, when there's a big disconnect between this one and this fuzzle, and this fuzzle, the pretend to be fuzzle, the actual fuzzle. So you never pretend. You look young, great, take it for advantage. You look old, take it for advantage. You've got wisdom. You're young, use the tactical part of it. This is what I'm facing. This is what I'm great at. You look fat, nobody's going to judge you. You look very thin, nobody is coming into your community. Nobody's watching you for your looks. We are not into the influencer part of the world. We are into how can we create business. Huge difference. It's upon the goal that we have. Huge difference. Got it? People are going to pay you to learn from you. People are going to pay you to learn from you, to consume your content, what you have to say. They're not paying you the way you look. Different things. Entirely different rules. That's it. We conclude. I said you, it's almost 16 to 17 minutes now. Thank you so much for watching this particular video. So these are the 8 things not to do while you start an entrepreneurship journey. Got it? So if now that you're starting this journey, like take this into consideration. Probably you might already know, you might probably not know. Take a note of all these things and make sure that you don't fall into these categories, because this is like you are going to get sucked into this if you are not aware of these things. You have to be very conscious when you start off the journey. Thank you so much for being a part of this particular video, and I will see you in another video.